Imagination. It's not just for kids. It's got such a strange connotation, like it's this toy that we play with. It's where we create these, amusing characters in our head, or we did. I stopped doing that when I was like 6 or 7. Unfortunately, I miss my characters. But imagination is more powerful than that. And, if I was in a different mood, maybe I'd pretend to try to make a case on why imagination is the fundamental part of being a human being. But the idea is imagination is the tool, right? I think the tool, like the great human tool, the thing that separates us from every other feeling, thinking, creature on this planet. It's like we have the ability to put our minds in a world that does not exist yet. We can imagine solutions to our problems. And indeed, I think that's where most of our solutions, if not all of our solutions, come from. It first starts as an idea, as a construct, entirely internal, entirely mental. Yeah, we had an idea for what it meant to shoot rockets off into space. We thought, hey, we could probably touch the moon if we wanted to. That's what we thought. It was entirely in our heads, or in the heads of the brilliant people who were in charge of, our beautiful space missions. Nothing like that had ever been done before. The entire existence of the idea is solely in the minds of the people who had it, solely in the imagination of the people who had it. And it's brilliant, the fact that we can take so much of what was in simply an imaginatory context and put it out in the real world. It's interesting, the phrase imagination, because it has in it the term image, which makes it feel more visual than anything. I don't know if you get the same context, but when I think imagination, personally, I think of that SpongeBob episode when him and Patrick are chilling in a box, pissing off Squidward. That's like every other SpongeBob episode. But imagination, you can imagine things that you don't see at all. You can imagine, the feeling of a cat's fur on your hand, or you can imagine what it's like to smell a smell you've never seen before. You can imagine an entire aesthetic environment, right? One that you can't place a picture around, but one that you can feel. That you can get. The word is vibes. You can get the vibes. You can make that up in your head. And I love the quote from Einstein. If it is to be believed, it's from Einstein. That knowledge is finite, but imagination encircles the world. And I don't know much about Einstein, but I do know this, that much of his ideas, his groundbreaking theories of general relativity that laid the foundation for what physics is today, the most magnificent understandings in a mathematical context you could ever see, they came from simply a thought, like maybe time doesn't work the way we think it does. Maybe time works relatively. At first, it was entirely in his head. And then, using the power of mathematics, which is something else I'll talk about as time goes on, he managed to prove its existence. He managed to prove the reality of what was at first only in his imagination. So don't be afraid of toying with your imagination. It's from there that you get every new idea for something nice to do in a relationship, for your significant other, or for a friend, or every new art piece you want to make, every new video you want to make, every essay you want to write, every game you might want to play or create. Imagination is the key.